What do you mean you told her she didn't look like she could afford it? Owen Barlow's voice cracked through the conference room like a whip, his jaw tight. The district manager flinched. It was just a misunderstanding, a miscommunication. Stop, Owen said. You told me we treat everyone who walks into our stores with respect. If that's true, then why am I hearing complaints like this from customers instead of you? 13 stores. That's how many Owen had built from the ground up over the past 15 years. He'd started selling refurbished furniture out of his garage. Pickups on weekends, deliveries in the back of his beat-up van. Now the business had grown into a multi-location name across 3 states. He should have felt proud. Instead, he felt disconnected. He hadn't been inside his own stores in months, maybe a year. Every time he asked for updates, he got polished reports, spreadsheets, and vague promises. But nothing beats seeing it for yourself. So he made a decision. No more relying on second-hand info. He was going undercover. He chose store number 9. Suburban area, decent numbers, yet a few customer reviews had mentioned rude staff and poor service. Nothing specific enough to act on, but just enough to bother him. Owen drove down alone, shaved off his usual stubble, dyed his hair a lighter brown, threw on thick-rimmed glasses, and wore a faded hoodie and jeans. No one in that store had ever met him before. The company had grown fast, and he'd only ever met a few of the store managers in person. He used a fake name, Matt, and walked in as a regular customer. It was a Tuesday afternoon. The store was pretty quiet. A tall, blonde woman approached him halfway through the couch section. "Need help with anything?" she asked, voice flat. "Yeah," Owen said. "I'm looking for a new couch. Something firm, maybe leather." She didn't smile. "Well, those are the nicer ones. They start around $1,200. He nodded, walking over to a dark brown sectional. "How's this one?" "Expensive," she said. "You sure that's in your budget?" Owen raised a brow but said nothing. She didn't recognize him. That was good. It was working. He wandered off. A few minutes later, he overheard a younger employee being scolded in the back corner. "Told you not to waste time with people who are obviously just browsing," said an older man in a polo shirt with a name tag that read Terry Manager. "You're not here to make friends. You're here to sell." The younger guy, probably in his early 20s, kept his eyes down. "I just thought they needed help." Terry scoffed. "Then go think somewhere else. You're on clock." Owen watched from behind a display. His stomach turned. He kept moving. He made his way to the far end of the store, where a few more couches were set up near a kids' play area. He sat down on a slate gray one and pulled out his phone, pretending to be checking reviews. Then he heard it. 2 women had stopped a few feet behind him, chatting as they looked at a navy blue sofa. "You remember what the guy said to me last time?" one said. "He legit told me I didn't look like someone who buys here, was in scrubs, had just come off a 12-hour shift." "No way," the other replied. "Did you report him?" "I tried. The girl at the desk just shrugged and told me he's the manager. Said if I didn't like it, I didn't have to shop here." Owen froze. He felt it like a punch in the chest. He turned slightly, enough to see the woman speaking. Young, probably mid-30s, still in scrubs. The sting in her voice was still fresh, like it had happened yesterday. He stood up and walked to the checkout desk. The employee at the register didn't look older than 19. "I'd like to buy that gray couch in the back," Owen said. "Sure," the kid said. "You want delivery or pick up?" "Delivery, I'll pay in full." Owen handed him a card. "You want help loading it into your cart?" "No," Owen said. "I'll wait here." He walked back to the couch and sat down again, heart pounding. The 2 women had moved on. He waited. 15 minutes later, he watched Terry walk past and mutter at the young employee again. "Don't just stand there. If you're not upselling, you're wasting time." Owen stood up, he'd seen enough. He walked toward the front, asked to speak to the manager. Terry came over annoyed. Something wrong with the couch. Owen took off his glasses. I'm Owen Barlow, I own this store. Terry blinked. What? Customers nearby went quiet. The young employee's eyes widened. I came in undercover to see how things are run here, Owen said, and what I saw was unacceptable. Terry's face drained of color. Mr. Barlow, I didn't realize. You didn't realize I was the owner, Owen interrupted. That much is clear. For a few seconds, the entire front of the store was silent, except for the buzz of the air conditioning and the ringing phone behind the counter that no one moved to answer. Owen turned to the young employee standing nearby. What's your name? Elias, the kid said, eyes flicking between Owen and Terry. You can go back to what you were doing, Elias. This isn't on you. Elias nodded and stepped away, glancing once over his shoulder before disappearing toward the back. Owen leveled his gaze at Terry. Let's talk, office, now. They walked in silence through the employee corridor into a cluttered back office that reeked faintly of stale coffee and dust. A pile of paperwork sat in the corner, some forms yellowed with age. The blinds were drawn shut, and one of the fluorescent lights above flickered. Owen shut the door behind them and leaned against the desk. How long have you been managing this location? 5 years, Terry said, hands in his pockets. I've kept it profitable. We hit our revenue targets every quarter. That's not what asked, Owen said. Asked how long you've been managing, not how long you've been hiding behind numbers. Terry shifted his stance. I didn't know who you were. If I had, I would've. Would've treated me differently. Exactly, Owen cut in. That's the problem. Terry opened his mouth, but Owen held up a hand. I listened to you humiliate a younger worker for helping a customer. I overheard 2 women talking about how you dismissed them based on how they looked, and I watched you ignore the moment someone needed actual help. That's not leadership. That's control. Terry scoffed, barely audible. Some people just waste time. They want to browse, ask 100 questions, then walk out without buying a thing. Then that's their right as customers, Owen said. We don't punish curiosity. We welcome it. You ever stop to think that maybe the reason people walk out is because of how they were treated? Terry folded his arms. I've been doing this a long time. I know who's serious and who's not. No, you know how to intimidate people into silence. That's not the same thing. Owen's voice stayed calm, but it no longer carried hesitation. You're done here. Clean out your things. You're terminated, effective immediately. Terry blinked. Are you serious? You think I'd come down here undercover, watch you belittle employees and alienate paying customers, and just give you a warning? Terry's jaw tightened, but he said nothing else. He turned and walked out, the door swinging shut behind him harder than necessary. Owen stood alone for a moment, letting the silence settle. He didn't feel triumphant, he felt tired. He stepped out into the hallway and found Elias restocking brochures near the delivery counter. Elias, Owen said, you got a minute? Elias looked up cautious. Sure. They walked over to the small break room. Owen gestured to the table. Sit. Elias hesitated, then pulled out a chair. You've been working here long. About 7 months, Elias said. Part-time, I'm in school. What are you studying? Interior design, Elias said. I like how furniture changes how people feel in a space. Just kind of fell into this job to help with tuition. Owen nodded. You're good with customers. I try to be, he said. Some people just want to look, others want full walkthroughs. I don't push, I just listen. That's exactly what I want more of, Owen said. You ever think about moving up? Floor lead, maybe assistant manager. Elias blinked. seriously. Yeah, but not today. I'm not going to throw you into more stress just because someone else failed at basic decency. We're going to stabilize first. Elias nodded slowly. Okay, yeah, that would be cool. Owen smiled, the first real one all day. Good, I'll be in touch. He left the break room and headed back to the sales floor. The store felt different now. Less tense, but still too quiet. He flagged down the woman from the front register, a young black woman with short curls and a company lanyard. Hey, he said gently. Thanks for handling the sale earlier. What's your name? Jade, she said, watching him carefully. Jade, I need your help. Who's been scheduling the staff? Terry, she said. He handles all of it. Owen nodded. How many people are usually on shift during the week? Usually just 3, she said. Sometimes 2 if someone calls out. We're open 11 hours a day. That's not sustainable. She shrugged. I've been saying that for months. What happens when you're short? We cover, no breaks. Lunch at the counter if we're lucky. Terry said the store couldn't afford more hours. Owen crossed his arms. That stops immediately. I'll authorize overtime if needed, and we'll hire at least 2 more part-timers so you're not burning out. Jade blinked. Seriously? Seriously, Owen said. And until we find a new manager, I want you and Elias to split floor leadership. You'll report directly to me or to my assistant, and we'll bring in someone from corporate to help stabilize things in the meantime. Jade stood silent for a moment, then said, I didn't think anyone actually listened. I didn't either, Owen said, but I'm going to start. Before she could respond, a voice came from behind them. Excuse me, are you Owen? He turned to see the woman in scrubs from earlier. Her eyes were sharp but cautious. I am, he said, owe you an apology. She crossed her arms. You don't even know what happened. I know enough. Overheard what you said earlier, and I own this place. That kind of treatment never should have happened. She studied him. So what are you going to do about it? I already removed the manager responsible, he said. I'm also rewriting our customer service training and checking every location for similar issues. If you're willing, I'd like to hear what happened in full. You deserve to be heard. She glanced toward the exit, then back at him. All right, I've got 10 minutes. They sat near the consultation table in the corner. Her name was Simone. She was a nurse, mother of 2, and had come in months ago after a long shift hoping to buy a couch for her new apartment. Instead, she left feeling embarrassed and unwelcome. I wasn't expecting red carpet, she said, just basic respect. You should have had that from the start, Owen said, and I'm going to make sure no one else leaves feeling the way you did. After she left, Owen stayed seated for a while, watching customers come and go. Some browsed quietly, others asked questions, and for the first time that day, he noticed something different. Jade talking to an elderly couple, smiling politely. Elias showing a teenager how to adjust the recliner lever without rushing him. The energy was shifting. He stood, pulled out his phone, and called his assistant directly. Put a hold on tomorrow's meetings, he said. I'm staying in town for a few days. I'm not walking away from this store until it's right. The following morning, Owen arrived before the store opened. The parking lot was still empty, except for a single sedan parked near the loading dock. A light drizzle tapped against the windshield as he shut off the engine and sat silently for a moment, scanning the darkened storefront. The automatic lights inside flicked on one by one. He stepped through the back entrance using a manager's key and found Elias already inside, wiping down the customer consultation table with a damp cloth. A fresh stack of catalogs sat neatly to the side. You're early, Owen said as he hung his jacket behind the door. Elias glanced up startled, didn't want to start the day behind. Owen nodded. You sleep at all? Couple hours, Elias said. Had a project due last night, but I'm good. Don't burn yourself out, Owen said. You're helping, not replacing a broken system. We fix that first. He walked the floor slowly, clipboard in hand. The store's layout was functional but cold, too much symmetry, not enough warmth. He made a mental note to bring in a design consultant. If they wanted customers to stay longer, the space had to feel inviting, not transactional. At 9, Jade arrived, umbrella dripping and tote bag slung over her shoulder. Her eyes landed on Owen. You still here? She asked, brushing water from her sleeves. Told you I wasn't leaving until this place runs right, Owen said. She set her bag down behind the counter. Didn't think you meant that literally. I meant it, he said. You and Elias still okay splitting floor coverage today? Jade nodded. We'll manage, but we need better weekend coverage. Saturdays get slammed. I'm working on it. I'm bringing in someone from the regional office to help with hiring. Should be here later this week. Good, she said. We're running thin. Had to skip lunch the last 3 shifts. Not happening again. Starting today, I want staggered breaks scheduled. No one works more than 5 hours without time to sit and eat. If that means we close the floor in sections temporarily, so be it. Jade raised an eyebrow. You sure the higher-ups won't fight that? I'm the higher-up, Owen said, and I'd rather lose a few sales than burn out the people who make them. By 10, customers began trickling in, mostly older couples and a few parents with kids. Owen kept to the background, observing. The energy was still cautious, but there was a lightness that hadn't been there the day before. Jade approached customers with a calm confidence, while Elias took more initiative, guiding people without hovering. Just after noon, a commotion stirred near the front door. A woman in her 40s, wearing a crisp pantsuit and carrying a leather folder, stepped in and scanned the room. Her heels clicked sharply against the tiles as she approached the counter. I'm looking for Owen Barlow, she said. Owen stepped forward. That's me. She extended a hand. Amber Morales, HR Compliance, Regional Office. He shook her hand. Thanks for coming down so quickly. I got your message, said it was urgent. It is. He led her to the office, where they sat opposite each other at the small desk. Owen explained everything, what he saw, what he heard, what he'd already done. Amber's expression didn't change, but she took notes quickly and with precision. Do you have documentation on the previous manager's behavior? She asked. Only what I witnessed firsthand, but the staff can confirm. I'll need formal statements, she said, especially if we want to prevent any wrongful termination claims. There's nothing wrongful about what he did. I agree, Amber said, but policy's policy. If it comes to arbitration, we show due diligence. I'll get you what you need. Amber closed her folder. And the staff you promoted temporarily. Not promoted, assigned, no pay changes yet. I'm waiting to finalize that until the hiring plan is in place. Her expression softened slightly. You're doing this the right way, Owen. Most owners don't. I spent years building this company. I'm not going to let it rot from the inside. Amber stood. I'll start interviews with the team. You'll have my report by end of week. Owen nodded. Thank you. She left, heels fading down the corridor. By mid-afternoon, foot traffic picked up. Owen stayed on the floor, helping rearrange displays and answering product questions. A family with 2 kids asked about stain-resistant fabrics. An elderly man needed help navigating financing options. Owen noticed Jade stepping away for a break without prompting. Elias followed shortly after. Progress. At 3, a man entered wearing a neon orange hoodie and cargo pants, carrying a clipboard and glancing around with narrowed eyes. He didn't look like a customer. Owen approached. Can I help you? Delivery audit, the man said. Name's Reggie. Check store-to-home fulfillment orders, making sure what's logged matches what's shipped. Owen nodded. We've had some issues. Reggie flipped a page. Couple of complaints in the last quarter, missing cushions, wrong color, late arrivals. Who oversees fulfillment here? Terry used to, Reggie said. If something went wrong, he usually blamed the warehouse. Owen frowned. The warehouse hasn't had any complaints. Reggie lowered the clipboard. Exactly. They headed to the back. Owen opened the loading bay and walked Reggie through the logs. See this? Reggie pointed. Customer ordered the Madison sectional in charcoal. Delivery notes say picked up, but warehouse records show it never left the floor. Owen scanned the entry, which means someone marked it delivered without actually sending it. Bingo, and it's not a one-off. Flagged 5 similar cases. Owen's jaw tightened. Send me everything you have. I will, but this ain't a paperwork issue. This is someone cutting corners to hit quota. Owen looked at the empty office where Terry had once sat. Not anymore. Reggie nodded and left through the back. Owen stepped outside for air. The drizzle had stopped, but the sky remained overcast. He stood by the loading dock, hands in his pockets, watching puddles ripple with the breeze. He'd built this company on trust, hired people he thought would carry that vision forward. Somewhere along the way, he'd stopped checking. A voice behind him pulled him back. Hey, Owen. He turned to see Elias, holding a half-eaten sandwich in one hand. You got a second? Yeah, Owen said, stepping under the awning. I was thinking, Elias said, we've got a bunch of floor models that haven't moved in months, but they're still in good shape. Go on. What if we set up a discounted clearance section, put it near the entrance, label everything clearly, helps move inventory, and customers get a deal? Owen considered it. You think it'll work? Can't hurt to try, Elias said. Right now, they're just taking up space. You've got good instincts, Owen said. Let's pilot it. You and Jade can set it up tomorrow. Elias smiled, then glanced over his shoulder. Also, talk to Simone. Owen raised an eyebrow. The nurse. She came back in today, said she saw the changes, said it felt different. Owen let out a slow breath. That means something. Elias nodded. Yeah, it does. They stood there for a moment, the quiet broken only by the distant hum of traffic and the creak of the loading dock door. Inside, the store buzzed with gentle conversation and the shuffle of moving feet. No shouting, no tension, just people doing their jobs. It wasn't perfect yet. But for the first time in a long time, it was honest. Friday morning arrived gray and humid, the kind of summer day that clung to your skin. Owen parked in the same backlot spot, the one Terry used to claim, and let the engine idle. He hadn't slept much again. The past few nights had been a storm of late-night calls to corporate, a string of video interviews with potential floor leads, and back-to-back conversations with HR. Every hour revealed new cracks in the foundation he thought was solid. Inside, the store was already stirring. Jade was at the front counter, cross-referencing delivery slips. Elias was sweeping near the rug displays. In the far right corner, 2 new part-time hires were being shown how to tag clearance items. Both had been fast-tracked through onboarding after Amber's visit wrapped up with urgent recommendations. Owen stepped inside, nodded a greeting to the staff, then made his way to the office. He had a meeting scheduled with someone from corporate logistics, but before he could even sit down, a knock hit the frame. It was Simone the nurse. She wore jeans and a simple gray tee. No scrubs this time. Her arms were crossed, but her posture was more relaxed than the last time they spoke. I hope I'm not interrupting, she said. Not at all, Owen replied. Come in. I didn't just drop by, she said. Actually picked out a sofa. Same one I looked at a while back, the blue one. He raised his brows. You made a decision. I did, Simone said, and I was helped by Jade. She remembered me, treated me like I actually mattered. I wanted to say thank you in person before it got lost in a survey. Owen leaned forward slightly. That means more than you know. She gave a brief nod, then looked toward the door. Hope you keep this up. Places like this, they don't usually change. They do if someone's watching, he said. Simone left a few minutes later, receipt in hand, walking back toward her car with the kind of ease that came from finally being treated right. The logistics manager arrived shortly after. His name was Darren, a broad-shouldered guy with a quiet voice and a tablet that rarely left his hand. They sat across from each other reviewing delivery routes, item tracking, and the inconsistencies that had piled up under Terry's oversight. 3 split shipments marked complete when only half the items were delivered, Darren said, tapping through entries. Every one of them signed off by Terry. No supporting notes, no customer follow-up. Couldn't have just been laziness, Owen said. That's deliberate. I'd agree, Darren replied. But the good news is the warehouse team's clean. I've worked with them for years. They log everything by the book. This was all happening at the storefront level. Then we fix it here, Owen said, starting with weekly audits. I want every fulfillment marked with customer confirmation, not just internal checkboxes. Darren nodded. I'll write the protocol tonight. You'll have it by morning. By late afternoon, the new clearance area was in place. Elias had worked with the new hires to lay down accent rugs under each display couch, softening the look and inviting customers to linger. A handwritten sign read, "Floor fines reduced, not rejected." Jade passed by Owen as she headed to the back, pausing just long enough to speak without breaking stride. 2 people already asked about the tan sectional. That thing's been sitting for 4 months. Owen smiled faintly. Looks like Elias was right. By 5, the store was busy. A young couple debated fabric swatches near the back wall. A teenager tested the recliners while his dad haggled over price. Elias floated between them, answering questions, offering honest opinions. Then something caught Owen's eye. Near the entrance, a woman was standing off to the side. She wore a headscarf and carried a worn canvas bag. She hesitated near the displays, looking over the price tags, then pulling back as if expecting to be told to move on. No one approached her. Owen stepped forward, but before he reached her, one of the new hires, a guy named Marcus, intercepted her. But not kindly. Hey, just so you know, these are for sale. This isn't a waiting area. The woman blinked. I'm just looking. Right, but we've had people try to nap here before. If you're not buying, I'll have to ask you not to loiter. Owen froze. It was the tone. The way Marcus looked at her not as a customer, but as a disruption. A problem. She stepped back, gripping her bag tighter. That was enough. Marcus, Owen said, voice sharp, calm. Marcus turned. Yeah. Come with me. He followed Owen to the back hallway without a word. As soon as they reached the service corridor, Owen closed the door quietly. You're done here, Owen said. What? Marcus blinked. I was just doing what? You spoke to her like she didn't belong here, Owen said. You made assumptions based on how she looked, not what she did. We don't tolerate that. Not for a second. I didn't mean anything by it, Marcus said. She looked. Don't finish that sentence, Owen said. You don't get another chance. This isn't a warning, it's over. Marcus stood in stunned silence. Owen opened the door and motioned toward the exit. I'll make sure your check is processed by week's end. Marcus left without another word. Owen returned to the floor. The woman was now near the rug samples, still browsing, though her shoulders were tense. He approached gently. "I'm sorry for how you were spoken to earlier," he said. "That employee no longer works here." The woman looked surprised. "You're the manager." "Higher than that," he said. "I own the store." She hesitated. "I wasn't trying to cause trouble." "You didn't," he said. "You're welcome here. If you'd like someone to help you, I can ask one of our associates." She gave a quiet nod. "Thank you." Owen stepped away and asked Jade to assist her. No explanation needed. Jade already understood what mattered. As closing time neared, Owen gathered the staff near the clearance section. The store was quiet again, the last customer having just exited. "I wanted to say something before we lock up," he said. Elias leaned against a display. Jade crossed her arms, already listening. "This week wasn't easy, and I know it'll take time to fix everything. But what you've done here, how you've handled the pressure, the changes, the customers, it matters." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "You set the tone now," he said, "because this store reflects you. Every person who walks through that door deserves respect, patience, and honesty, and you've shown me you're capable of giving that." Jade gave a small nod. Elias glanced at the floor, quietly proud. "There's more work ahead," Owen added. "But I'll be here, not just for now, for good. I'm not going back to watching from spreadsheets. This company's only as strong as the people holding it up." He paused, taking in their faces. "And from where I'm standing, we're in better hands than we've ever been." They didn't cheer, they didn't clap. That wasn't their style. But they stayed a little longer before heading out, cleaned a little more thoroughly, spoke to each other with a little more ease. Owen locked the front door last, checked the lights, and stepped into the warm air. For the first time in far too long, he didn't feel like an outsider in his own company. He felt like he belonged.